Hi, this is a quick message about the question of whether we have fallen for an inverted timeline. What is a timeline? A timeline is progression in history from one point of time to another. Time, we all use clocks, so we're all on the line of time in this realm. So the only reason this is important is because when we are dropping the veil and bringing light, Pluto and Scorpio generation, that's what this is. We're unveiling some of the undesirable things, society, humanity, depravity, what have you, to make people go, oh, this is really going on. And you're like, oh yeah, this is really going on. How come I didn't know? Because you didn't want to see, or because it was hidden, or whatnot, whatever the reason. But in this timeline where there is an unveiling, there is a recognition or a call for recognizing that which has been done in the dark and how it is being brought to the light, we need to understand that there is a trap, a trick of an inverted timeline, which would be a Saturnian way of looping you back into more of the same, but with the negated effect. Make it make sense with a specific example. Racism. If there was a time when people without melanated skin thought themselves to be superior and then took actions to assert their effort or their dominance upon other races, and that created the term or the experience of racism. Throughout humanity, the teaching in this infinity loop is to learn what the effects of this timeline cause. When you get to that choice point and you reveal what the effects are, if those angry people then decide to study their heritage, to find out that they are powerful, what have you, we're all powerful, but then they start to inherit or adopt an inverted timeline, an inverted deception, it's not a deception, but an inverted belief that would prompt them to go back into the negation of the very same timeline. We now have created an infinity loop where now we have reverse racism. I have melanin, therefore I am superior. I come from the kings and queens where other people are not the same. I adopt to a system where my ancestors look like me. If we look at the people who do past life regressions and things like this, it makes me wonder always, what life are you tapping into if we all come back to the very same source, if we all have the same blood within us, if we all come back to one, unity, then how can you perceive an individual, a timeline or a history or a past version of yourself that wasn't the same and connected to each and every one? How do you know you have not lived in white skin, black skin, brown skin, whatever the case, you know? And it doesn't just come to just ethnicity, race. It can be an inverted timeline in terms of just femininity and masculinity. That's another major one. So we used to live in a time where women were meek and humble, and men were supposed to be gentlemanly and respect and court a female, a lady. And now we see the effects of that. Men felt that it took too long to have intercourse, or women felt that they were being oppressed by having to let a man take charge and do everything. So we see what's the opposite of that. The answer is always balance. But when you fall for an inverted timeline, we get toxic masculinity. Let's go to the opposite, where women are overtly promiscuous and men do not seek to court or value or honor a woman, but see her only as a vegetable for sex. Okay, so this is the inversion. So now we're looped into a timeline where we are experiencing the exact opposite for whatever period of time it takes until you don't. If you fall for the Saturnian cycles of, or the Saturnian tricks of time, keeping yourself in it, what we call it, the rat race. The answer to racism is not more racism in reverse. The answer to the issue of masculine and feminine and gender roles and rights is not to go to the opposite end of the spectrum. The opposite of learning about gun laws isn't to strap up and think that you can just shoot anything and there's no ramifications for taking life. Okay, the opposite of that isn't to be so passive and peaceful that you do not defend yourself. So the answer to Republicans are not Democrats. The answer, and vice versa. We're divided, we fall. United we stand, divided we fall. Do not fall for the trick of inversion. We are all the same, and we are all trying to escape the illusion of time. All righty, take care.